Welcome back to the deep dive. So you've sent over a stack of sources that, they read less like a mission report and more like a high fantasy crime blotter.
It's a chaotic one, for sure.
Today we're digging into the operational notes from Session 70. It all starts with what should have been a routine financial audit of Baron Knock-Nebel.
Right.
And it just immediately spirals into this massive conspiracy. We're talking magical deception, black market cyborgs.
And an infuriating mathematical puzzle that, as far as we know, is still unsolved.
So where are we exactly? The notes say this all went down in Zanhaven.
Yep, the far western county. The initial goal was simple, Audit Baron Nebel's books. This came straight from Herr Magnus.
Ah, Herr Magnus. The team had a nickname for him, didn't they? Something like the financial proctologist.
They did. And that tells you everything you need to know about how high pressure this assignment was.
But they don't even get to the ledgers, right? They're met with resistance almost immediately.
Oh, instantly. The mission was a mess from the very start. They get ambushed right after teleporting into Fandara Corral.
By who? Not the Baron's personal guard?
By local guardsmen, yeah. And 5 of these specialized constructs, they're called Modin.
So that initial fight just sets the whole tone. Nebel wasn't just hiding a bit of, tax evasion. Yeah. He was willing to kill to hide something big.
Exactly. And that's really the core question for this whole deep dive. What was so important that he was trying to hide? And what did the team actually find when he pulled his vanishing act?
Okay, let's track the journey. So after that ambush, they have to regroup. They take a ship, a Nar, to the manor.
They do. And when they finally get to Nebel Manor, the intel they pick up suggests the place is already a powder keg.
Right. There is some internal conflict.
2 things, specifically. First, there's a rumor that one of the maids, Susan, is actually a spy for a rival baron, so the whole place is compromised.
Okay, so no one can be trusted. What was the second thing?
Just before the audit started, a guy named Hutch, described as a merchandise handler.
Which is code for smuggler.
Exactly. He gets interrupted and rushed out of the manor, so it seems like Nebel was in the middle of an illicit deal right when the auditors showed up.
The tension must have been just off the charts when Herr Magnus finally sits down with Nebel.
It must have been. But the audit itself, the books, that's not what kicked things off.
No, it was. It was the book, right? The other book.
Yes. Nebel grabs a book from a shelf, scribbles something in it, and then, poof, he just drops through a shimmering portal that opens up in the floor.
Gone. Just like that.
Just like that. And his companion, a man named Terrence, he doesn't even hesitate. He just leaps right in after him.
Down a 15-foot drop. So the team had no choice. They had to follow.
And they land in this bizarre subterranean chamber, all metal and machinery.
And that's where they meet the Modrons.
Terrifying things. These aren't just robots, they're cyborgs. Fleshy parts, organic components. They ran into a flying spellcaster named Quentin, an archer, staves, and a monk named Mono.
But the key detail from the fight, I think, is the portal. It wasn't stable.
Not at all. The notes say it was visibly pulsing, which, suggested it was collapsing.
Yeah.
They had maybe a few moments, 3 to 6 rounds at most, to get this done.
So it wasn't just a fight to win, it was a smash and grab.
Absolutely. Their tactics had to shift immediately from just, pure combat to resource acquisition. They had to grab what was valuable and get out.
And it's kind of chilling how fast they pivot to salvage. These Modrons were apparently packed with precious metals.
A lot of value, yeah. Platinum and gold scrap. Each standard cyborg body was worth about 400 gold pieces.
And the specialized ones, like Quentin and that duplicate of Herr Magnus.
Those were worth even more, about 1,000 gold pieces each, just in parts. It shows you how, in this world, sometimes the parts are worth more than the fight itself.
So they had to make choices. Who do they grab?
They prioritized, they secured the human, Terrence, and then the Modrons, Mono, Quentin, and critically, that fake Herr Magnus duplicate.
And it's from that duplicate's body that they find it.
Yes. After the dust settles, they recover the book, the one Nebel used to escape.
The inevitable balance ledger.
A source of incredibly powerful conjuration magic. And that's where this whole thing goes from a simple crime to, well, something cosmic.
It's important to remember, though, what else they found. It wasn't just high-tech parts. There were also 3 crates of sloppy pork juice.
An interesting, if bizarre, side note. But yes, the ledger is the real discovery here. This isn't just a magic book. It's a terrifying supernatural accounting system.
A contract. It lets the user trade their own existence for power, right? Spent in units.
That's the perfect way to put it. The original user, a man named Roger Quill, he attunes to this ledger and essentially sells his future, his very soul, for collateral.
And the ledger has these really chilling terms for it.
It does. It quantifies the value of a person. Roger sold his physical body, which the ledger calls his lich.
And his metaphysical self, his soul, spirit, even his face, is called his essen.
And in exchange for all that, for his entire being, he got 37 units to spend.
Okay, hold on. 37 units. He sells his lich and his essen, his body and soul, for just 37 units. You'd think that would buy you, I don't know, immortality.
And that's the truly terrifying part of this cosmic accounting, isn't it? It suggests that in the grand scheme of things, Roger Quill's soul just wasn't worth that much.
The ledger decides your value, and it did not rate him highly.
Not at all. And when you see what he spent the units on, it's just profound how mundane it is compared to the sacrifice.
Transaction 1 is the attunement, signing a soul away. But then you get to transaction 3, and it's for a fine beefsteak dinner.
He sold his soul for a meal. It's the ultimate low-cost Faustian bargain.
But then it gets much, much darker. The next transactions reveal the real crime.
Right. Transaction 5, he imprisons the Baroness, banishing her into something called the Neville Vault.
And then transaction 7 is where he banishes the real Baron Neville and just assumes his identity. That explains the vanishing act.
But transaction 8 is where you see the true terrifying scope of this thing. The entry is conceal embezzlement in official ledgers.
That's not just a local effect, is it?
No. This book allowed him to remotely alter accounting records hundreds of miles away in the capital. It's manipulating established financial history from a distance.
It's reality bending through accounting.
And then we get to the final entry. Transaction 14. Roger creates that modern host body of Herr Magnus.
The one they fought.
The one they fought. And then he transfers all his remaining assets and balance into that body and surrenders all his units. The entry just ends starkly. Wielder voided.
Wielder voided. The team had a theory about that, didn't they? They thought that was the moment the original Roger Quill was destroyed.
Wiped from existence. It lines up with the scream they heard right when the real Baron vanished. Roger sold his soul and then his life just to become a cyborg copy of the man hunting him.
It's this bizarre, self-consuming cycle of fraud. He sacrificed everything just to maintain the lie.
It raises some huge questions about the ledger itself. I mean, is it a neutral tool? Or is it actively malicious, pushing its users towards these petty, self-destructive wishes until they just void themselves?
Which brings us to the next really immediate problem. The Baroness. She's trapped in the Neville Vault.
And the ledger gives them zero clues about where that vault actually is. Even Herr Magnus, with his X-ray vision, couldn't find it inside the manor.
The only thing they found, the only other piece of the puzzle, was another magic item.
A very strange one. A magic dollhouse they found in the children's bedroom. And this is where the mission just grinds to a halt and becomes a mathematical enigma.
It's a security system disguised as a toy, right? It's got slots for numbers, 0 through 9, and operators. Plus, minus, equals.
And those strange vertical bars, the team figured out you have to arrange coins in the slots to form an equation that equals 0.
But when they tried just, normal math,
It was impossible. There is no way to arrange those numbers using standard addition or subtraction to get a total of 0. It just can't be done.
so all the focus shifts to that one unknown, the double vertical bar operator. What does it do?
And this is where they had to stop being adventurers and start being like theoretical mathematicians.
Because if this thing is tied to the ledger's cosmic accounting, the math is probably not going to be simple.
Right. The notes say they debated it. The most common use for vertical bars in math today is absolute value.
Which makes any number positive.
Exactly. But even with that function, they couldn't get it to work. So the answer has to be more complex.
Or maybe more specific to this world. What were the other theories?
Well, they considered concatenation. That's where if you put the bars between a 3 and a 4, it becomes the number 34.
Okay, that would create huge numbers really fast. You'd have to use the minus sign very cleverly to get back to 0.
Then there are the really arcane theories. Maybe it's a geometric operator like parallelism, which makes no sense in an equation. Or maybe it's from like computer science, a logical OR function.
It's just fascinating that the key to rescuing the Baroness is locked behind a niche, maybe completely unique mathematical symbol on a child's toy.
And that's the big question. Is this a universal rule in their world that they just don't know? Or is it totally arbitrary, a one-time function tied only to the Neville family's magic?
If it's arbitrary, they might never solve it.
But if it ties back to the ledger, to that whole system of balancing cosmic books, maybe the symbol is about nullifying existence, balancing positive and negative to create a void.
The stakes are just huge. Solving this is the only way they can think of to get into that vault and save her.
So if we zoom back out, What have we really learned from this deep dive? We've got the ledger, for one. It's on its way to the Queen for analysis.
And it reveals this terrifying new kind of magic. A mechanism that can not only move a consciousness, but can rewrite financial history from across the continent.
We also uncovered Nebel's, or rather Roger's, entire operation, this high-value trafficking in modrons, and those parts are now being studied, probably for reverse engineering.
So knowledge is power. But for Roger Quill, that knowledge cost him everything. His soul and his life, all for a few minor perks.
And we're left staring at this cryptic dollhouse. It's a physical representation of the ledger's cold computational power. We now know a magical system exists to transfer a consciousness into a new manufactured body.
And if Roger, a small-time fraud, gave up his soul for a beefsteak dinner and a new cybernetic life, well, it leaves you wondering. What price might a truly powerful, or maybe even a moral entity, charge to escape death using the same chilling cosmic accounting system? And who or what does the inevitable balance ledger truly believe is worthy of a negative balance? That's the question to mull over until the next dive.